Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
It's time yet again to explore the vast catalog and find out what's a must or a bust on Disney Plus. And tonight, for our final podcast of 2024, we are talking Pixar's first animated series, long-form animated series, Dream Productions. Yeah, we are doing some catch-up on this, Dragon, because holy crap, we were busy during the holiday season. All right, so Dragon, I'll just go ahead and throw it to you first. What are your, we'll go episode by episode on this thing, but what are your initial thoughts?
So yeah, I mean, Dream Productions, I feel, we're all riding high off of Inside Out 2, reveling in the success of it, and also just, it was a darn good movie, and finding out, like, hey, we're going to get kind of more from there, it could have gone either way. I mean, there was a fear, because there was kind of a shift that happened where we were supposed to get Win or Lose, and instead we got Dream Productions. So I think there was
it's okay.
Fear.
They were busy writing the trans narrative out of Win or Lose. No big deal.
Anyway.
Just saying, it makes me a lot less excited for that show with that shit going on, but I digress.
So, there was a fear that this was being rushed out because of the success of Inside Out 2.
Mm-hmm.
But, this is some quality world building. I like the meta contextual element that you can kind of get from here. That, it's kind of Pixar, facing creative pressure.
Essentially, what this is it's kind of Pixar's inception, not just in the fact that it's dealing with dreams, but also the metaphor for filmmaking.
Yeah. And I think the limited episodes, because here's the thing, Pixar was very limited on this, like because of this was during like the layoffs and everything. This was during where we're putting them on a really tight leash, and I think limiting the episodes to 4 really helped focus the story, and I think it's worthy of of Inside Out, without feeling really tacked on. It didn't feel like, don't get me wrong, it is in its nature supplemental, but it doesn't feel like, again, I think it's kind of is a weird comparison. I think it's maybe kind of in the space of the Penguin, where, it does feel like a worthwhile adventure that bridges the gap.
Wait, the Penguin? You mean Penguins of Madagascar? What? Sorry?
No, like the Batman Penguin, Tiki.
Oh my God! What the fuck? What am I thinking? Jesus Christ! I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I think I would have said the Penguins of Madagascar.
Oh, that's embarrassing. I don't know why my mind went there.
The show's probably gonna win all the Emmys this coming year, Tiki. That Penguin.
Oh my God! Yeah, for sure. Which, by the way, the Batman delayed another year, so that's discouraging. After we're riding high, it's like, no, we're not going to get the Batman for a while.
Yeah. Anyway, so Pixar again. Look, I know right now there's a lot of things going on, but I mean, this show just in a bottle.
Can I just make it clear with the win or lose situation? I don't blame the creatives behind that show. I very much blame Disney as a company. I'm sure it's not a move the creatives actually wanted to make.
Because they're getting that from the top down first and foremost.
It just makes me even more pissed off at Disney than I already am, frankly. But whatever. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I don't even really think it's going to affect win or lose that much. But it's still discouraging, and it's going to have a little bit of a black mark on win or lose, nonetheless.
Anyway, I hate that it's kind of tainted things now with that, but
because we were all so stoked for, like, literally with the debate. The next upcoming debate, one of the questions is going to be, what is the thing we should be most looking forward to? And honestly, my answer would have been win or lose, but we have that fucking asterisk, so it's Anyways,
not like a Thunderbolts asterisk, different asterisk.
No. The Thunderbolts asterisk is just funny.
Yeah. Anyway, so point being, I think in a vacuum, Pixar, honestly, between this, I know technically, Monsters at Work is kind of a different animal because technically that is made to look like Pixar. That's not technically. Again, it's so weird how cyclical nature things are in the nature of Pixar and animation with television, where we have Buzz Lightyear Star Command, which is not a Pixar production, but obviously is made in the spirit of Pixar.
Mm-hmm.
And we know how that all kind of panned out in terms of like the whole relation there. And then we have Monsters at Work, which is technically a Disney production meant to look like Pixar, and succeeded pretty well at that.
Season 2 more so than season 1, but
That's
yes.
true, with the exception of the last episode of season 2. But yes,
Mm-hmm.
I will still stand firmly. I love season 2 until we get to the ending.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Anyway, point being, this is this does bring a lot of hope, and it's showing Pixar. I'm just so impressed that they were able to turn this out with the limitations they had, which I think goes to show sometimes in a bottle or with the flyers like under you kind of turn out some really good stuff. It's kind of thing that makes you think, man, Pixar still got it, man.
And honestly, it genuinely makes me think that with like I've talked enough shit about Moana 2 as it is, right? But like.
Yeah.
I really think that animation, like those stories, would have been better suited for a fucking Moana series, like they should have done in the first place. It probably would have been better suited, for a series.
It is kind of the inverse of Moana to an extent. You could almost see this as a TV movie of sorts.
Well, Co Gias pointed this out. He said, "Why didn't Pixar make the show into a third Inside?" This basically feels like Inside Out 2.5 or 1.5 if you want to
absolutely,
go with the timeline.
Well, it is 1.5, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Little Blues in the comments. Eli, he's saying, I guess it just makes sense. It just seems to work better as a miniseries, and indeed it does. And let's not. Co Gias might have been being tongue in cheek about the Moana 2 situation. If not, Co Gias, please don't give Disney any more ideas. We don't need another Moana 2 situation on our hands. Thank you very much. Really quick, Dragon, just to answer Eli's question here. Aren't you guys going to be doing a stream on your top favorite films of 2024? We're nearing the end of the year. There is one movie called The Brutalist that I am not going to get a chance to see until the 9th. January 9th at the earliest. And even then, I'm going to have to go to San Francisco to an Alamo Draft House in the Mission District to see it. So, but it's getting a lot of rave reviews. People are calling it essentially this decade's There Will Be Blood. There Will Be Blood is my number one movie of the 2000s. So I have to see it before I make that list. Like, I made the contingency of like, okay, we can do the Golden Tiki nominations without The Brutalist, but I can't do the end of the year list without The Brutalist.
I got a question about The Brutalist. Are you going to feel guilted to put The Brutalist on there even if you don't really like it?
No. I'm not.
Like, you're not just going to follow the trends on that? The whole, I went out of my way, I went all the way to San Francisco, I delayed everything, so I have to buy...
I'll put it this way. If the movie disappoints me, I will be pissed off, all right? Like, if the movie doesn't live up to what I think it's going to be even more annoying, the fact that I had to go all the way to San Francisco. I don't think the extra trouble is going to if anything, it's a hindrance on the movie, all right? So no, it's got to wow me.
You had to incur the horrors of San Francisco. You had to see pizza.
You don't even know, bro. You don't even know. Yeah, right now in 2024, San Francisco, 2025, it's and it there's an AMC that I can get right off I have a bus that goes from Petaluma to San Francisco. On that bus route, I could get off right at the AMC, so I don't actually have to travel anywhere in San Francisco. I can just go get off the bus, go into the mall where the AMC is, and that's it. But with this theater, I have to get off the bus, take another bus to the Mission District, walk from wherever the bus stop is to the fucking Alamo Draft House. It's madness. It's madness. All right. Okay, anyways, so yes, my thoughts on Dream Productions. I really, really like it a lot. It's funny because I'm kind of with that debate that's upcoming, the question of what is the best Disney release thing of 2024. It obviously wasn't going to be Moana 2 on my end. Shocker, I know.
But Tiki, I love that movie.
I fucking adore it. It's better than Encanto.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you watched it all the way to the very end. I mean, you are the authority on everything Moana 2. I mean, you studied that film. I mean, you watched it more than Ebert holding a film seminar.
Oh my god. Okay, but so I was debating on the debate. Like, I think realistically, Inside Out 2 is probably out of the two, probably better. Just by nature of it being a big theatrical sequel and it really sticking to landing, unlike Moana 2. But this is going to be my answer, Dragon, just because Inside Out 2 was kind of like they really had to try hard to screw up Inside Out 2, right? Like I feel like that movie was just kind of like prime territory to make a sequel, and they knocked it out of the park. But with Dream Productions, I mean, this could have easily gone south. This could have easily gone wrong in a number of ways, and it didn't. And they really stuck to landing on it. And I think it's definitely the best, like, long form. Little Blue, no, I have not already told Dragon your answers. He doesn't even know that you're fighting yet. So yes, Dragon, Little Blue is going to be my opponent in the next debate. Surprise. Anyways, but yes, I feel like this is just a really, really good omen for stuff like Win or Lose, in spite of the studio mandated controversy. And I think Pixar getting into long form storytelling, and I shouldn't say long form. What I mean by long form is I mean like this isn't a series like, you know, like Zootopia Plus or I Am Baymax or I Am Groot or I'm sorry, the Baymax show is literally just called Baymax. But you know what I mean? Like those, or even stuff like Forky Asks a Question, which was fun, but you know, unlike any of those series, this one really tells a story, tells it well. It does feel like just a full-fledged narrative, and I think it really knocked it out of the park. And I'm excited to get into it. Yeah. All right. Okay. So with that in mind, let's go through the episodes. Unless Dragon, do you want to do background? I'm not sure.
I mean, Scotia background, just
Sure.
Scotia.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so Mike Jones was the showrunner on this. Now he's actually a really talented writer. He worked on did a number of things for Pixar. Honestly, the guy, man, has a talent for writing animation. So he did. He was one of the writers on not the lead writer, but he's one of the writers on Soul. And more impressively to me, Luca. He worked on Luca.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which, oh my god, Luca was like I did the thing where I saw the those 3 Pixar movies that were re-released last year that nobody actually fucking bothered to see except for me, apparently.
Well, yeah.
Luca was the one in theaters where I was like, yes, this holds up even better on the big screen.
Oh, which, by the way, I made a major discovery about Luca recently.
Yeah.
I was kicking myself for not realizing it sooner because I've been ranting and raving for God knows how long until Inside Out 2. There was only one Pixar film that did not have a commentary, and now that's actually been changed. So Luca did not have a commentary on the Blu-ray release. It's like the only time Pixar hasn't done this until Inside Out 2. And I very recently, just because I would keep checking and check, like, did I miss it somehow? And then I somehow miraculously just kind of looked into it out of curiosity. Like, I found out that on Disney Plus, the commentary is there, but only there. It's exclusive to Disney Plus. The reason being because of the initial release, because of the risk of the pandemic, it had commentary.
I got to check that out.
So yeah, you should watch it. It's really good too. It's Casarosa talking. It's good. So it's informative. It's Pixar commentary. So, but again, unfortunately, so now Inside Out 2 is like the record-breaking. Like there is no commentary in existence for Inside Out 2. That is not on Disney Plus, and you better believe I checked. Anyways, point being, big fan of Luca myself. So the guy wrote on Soul and Luca, and also he adapted The Wind Rises, for the dub. So he adapted the script for that.
Oh yeah, nice.
Anyway, so he's been a story consultant in the other Pixar films, including Inside Out 2. And again, like I said earlier, this is during Pixar's down period. This is during the down period in terms of this is when the layoffs have been happening.
Probably got greenlit, like I'm guessing, like pretty close to Lightyear flopping, like around that era.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how much of it was like it was in the works before Inside Out 2 or not. I imagine it was in conjunction with it. But here's the thing: regardless, it was in the works and then it got downsized, much like Paula's offices in the show. So it was downsized from 7 episodes to 4 episodes because of the budget cuts and because of the post Lightyear stuff. Which I feel is really interesting because they were really on their heels for this one. They also had the reuse models. That's why, I mean, in part, I don't know how much of that maybe had to do with like in terms of specifying it for Dream Productions of all things, because those are the easiest models to make. I'm not sure. But yeah, so it. I mean, you can barely really tell. I mean, just the whole reuse of like what they had, and they made the most out of it. And it was impressive. It got it's got rave reviews,
Are we
and
talking like models as in like character
yeah,
designs?
character designs. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think that they basically just like you said. I feel like they made the most out of it as far as just they give all of them like very accented like accessories and stuff like that
Hmm.
to differentiate them. I don't think the Bean people that run Dream Productions are as visually compelling as the emotions, but
That's kind of the challenge, though, of like how can you make
yeah,
these by definition, like the whole gag in the character design of Inside Out is that the further you get from headquarters of the principal emotions, the more vague concepty, like the neurons and all the things in the brain would get.
right.
Anyway, yeah. Also, we had some SNL talent here. So Paula Pell is Paula. She was a writer on SNL, which of course was a big driving force behind the brief snippet we had of Dream Productions
Mhm.
in the first Inside Out movie. So again, and she was in that. Like Paula was in that movie, and we kind of brought her back here, and all of her crew and everyone came back again, budgetary or not, they all came back.
Okay, I'm gonna need to have to watch the original Inside Out again because I totally forget
Because
that part.
remember, when Joy and Sadness crashed the set, they're all there and they're directing, and you
Okay,
can
I'm
see
gonna
them.
have to go back and watch that scene again. Yeah, that's cool.
And it is her doing the voice there. Also, she is the voice of Anger in Mrs. Anderson's mind.
Nice. Now I knew that. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's her. And
Also,
also,
it's cool that we have another writer taking on a lead character.
oh yeah, and that's the thing. Like she had done like bit parts and things, but again, she starred in SNL. She came up with Debbie Downer. That was her big contribution to SNL.
Uh,
So yeah, and she popped up in things along over the years, like like she's one of the writers. Again, she's been a writer behind the scenes on a lot of stuff. Like she was one of the writers on Bridesmaids, stuff like that.
mhm.
Anyway, also Ally Mackey plays Janelle. Ally Mackey was Officer McDimples in Toy Story 4.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, so this Dream Productions has been doing really well. People have been kind of really liking it and kind of discovering it. So yay! All right, we're good.
All right. Okay, so yeah, we'll just go episode by episode through this. So we start with episode 1, the Dream Team. So Dragon, let's get this out of the way right off the bat. What do you think of the Office style mockumentary get up? Because I was skeptical about it at first, but I really think it works. I think it works to kind of differentiate this stylistically, make the story feel a little bit more personal.
So I like The Office, early Office more specific. Everything up to when Steve
I
Carell
feel
left.
like I would like The Office if the internet didn't like shove it down my throat as much as it does.
Well, that's true, but take it from me. I mean, like, The Office just until Michael Scott leaves, until Steve Carell leaves, like
Sure.
that's the original Office. Even more specifically, the first four seasons of The Office, rock solid.
Mhm.
Anyway, point being, yeah, I like that, and I like the documentary style kind of idea, and I thought it was a refreshing approach for them to take, and I'm with you. I think it was a good kind of in for them to differentiate things and kind of have like you know, what's really the sell, and like why would we see the behind the scenes? It kind of makes sense. We do it kind of documentary style. It just kind of fit.
Mhm.
So we reestablish what Dream Productions is and how it works, and kind of a nice little like the idea again doing it kind of documentary office style. We have Joy in the gang at headquarters, which is that hilarious gag of like Anger never signed the waiver, so he's all pixelated.
Anger has some really memorable like he's not in a lot of it, but there's a couple of the absolute funniest gags in the whole show that
The
revolve
phone
around.
gag later, I think, is the funniest gag.
Exactly.
We'll get there.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. So basically, join the gang, refresh us on the role of the dreams, which essentially is kind of an inception-y kind of concept where they facilitate kind of Riley's decision. Basically, the dreams that really land, the big hits of dreams, if you will, motivate actions and choices that Riley makes because they're kind of they've seated themselves in the mind.
Mhm.
And yeah, so and again, Dream Productions initially intended to be SNL, which basically is like we're seeing a movie studio, but we're it's like the production meetings and the work that goes into an SNL sketch, but kind of like mixed in with Hollywood. So that's kind of our expansion of the world building. We're going from very much SNL nightly. It's movies made like a live production like SNL. It's essentially what the middle ground is, where we see like the live production of it all. And there can be no mistakes. It's a live film level. Like if SNL had a film budget, that's what this would be.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah, aside from literally the movie we had about SNL.
All right, so let's talk about our lead. You kind of already kind of teed her up, Paula Persimmons. I really, really like her. I think she's similar to Joy, but I think she's just different enough that she really kind of anchors herself to the series in a really natural way. I think she's very relatable. Kind of the whole idea with her and Joy that's similar is that they both kind of want to hold on to Riley's childhood a little bit too much, but I think they kind of go about it in different ways, which I think makes for a very interesting kind of like dual protagonists. I actually think in Inside Out 3, I'd really be down for Paula to kind of be maybe a supporting character, maybe Paula and Joy kind of clash or something like that, because I really do think it's interesting that the two leads in this franchise from the two things that we've gotten are very similar in that kind of like trying to trying to hold on to Riley's childhood sort of thing.
Yeah, but I like how we kind of apply the layer of one of the reasons she's doing that is that again we're kind of Riley's childhood was her most successful period that made her career. Like we see the acclaimed dream, Goodbye Passy.
Which is a great way to open this.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So she's clinging to the childhood both for, kind of like her own reasons, but also, again, that was just her most successful period and kind of influencing Riley. And that was like she was the first, she achieved she made Riley give up the pacifier.
Uh-huh.
And I love the trophy shelf idea with the fading memories. I love everything about that symbol and how we pay it off later. The idea that okay, we've seen
it's a great kind of extension of the emotion, the glass balls of emotions.
Yeah, like the core memories.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So we've established the memories in Inside Out. And we've done a lot with this between the three, the three interims of Inside Out. We saw very much like the role of the core memories in the first film. In Inside Out 2, we saw kind of like how they kind of form personality, or like kind of like the net of self. We saw like they go into the water and everything. We send them to the back of the mind, all that. And here we're seeing them very much as kind of mementos, and just kind of like I just love that it's like a symbol of just it's a symbol of success and achievement, and also again it kind of speaks to the fleeting nature of fame in Hollywood, where it's like you put them on a shelf but they will fade.
Exactly.
And again, I just love the visual, like she's seeing, oh yeah, they are kind of fading, and so again it's something that's firmly well established Inside Out how that works when we're in like the chasm, of like all the all the fading memories that Joy kind of, and basically the thing that killed Bing Bong. So I love that we kind of have that just kind of looming.
We kind of have that like kind of all over the place here with the dreams turning into dust, essentially getting like Infinity War dusted.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So similar to Joy, she wants Riley to be happy via escapism, via her craft, via her art form. So the arc of Paula very much is, and this is like classic Pixar. And I think fundamentally this is what really makes Dream Productions work. We're going to the core of Pixar, which is we have a character who's very comfortable in their position. She's at the top of her game. She's Woody on the bed. And she, we have her assistant director Janelle. She's moving up, which is kind of putting Paula essentially in kind of like it's upending her status quo. And then we're going to bring in Zenny for our Pixar duo, which is going to challenge her and kind of like make her reflect on the lifestyle here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and again, like Zenny is played by Richard Ayoade, and Richard Ayoade, he was in Soul, by the way, in case anyone's like, everyone's probably him.
I mean, he's been in a whole bunch of stuff. He's a kind of like an industry veteran at this point.
Oh yeah. So he's very much the pretentious new age daydream director. So the daydream director thing is really funny.
Let's see, what were some of the examples that he gave? Like everyone's a robot but me. That was funny.
I think is that my secret sister across the street?
Right. Is that cloud a hockey puck?
Yep. So I
Yeah,
love.
I think Richard Ayoade. I think this role, like he was kind of in the, he was the bad guy in The Bad Guys. The
Very
bad
appropriately.
guy is actually the bad guy, and we're gonna be the good guy.
All right, save it for the sequel, Tiki.
No, but I'm just saying, like, we really didn't care for him in that. That, like, his character was one of the weaker elements of that movie. But I think, like, he's playing a prickly character here, but he's playing a character where he's got passion. He just doesn't really know how to go about it. And his most famous character, the character that kind of put him on the map, was Moss from the IT Crowd. And I think this character is essentially like a more self-assured version of Moss, which I think is great, and I think he really fits this role like a glove.
Now I won't lie to you. Zenny could have gone a
I
different
was
way.
very worried when he first showed
Yeah,
up.
me too.
Because I really like Richard Ayoade, but I think he's been miscast in some stuff recently. So
That's the thing. I was a little worried about him, but they leaned into it and they stuck to their guns, and they gave him a little bit of dimension. They gave him an arc, and I appreciate it. So that's the thing. So Paula's problem to me, looking at episode 1 here, is that she's not adopting. She's not adapting to the post Inside Out status quo, which is Riley's growing up. And she's seeking joy-based emotions. Like we saw, like them digging through, like looking for inspiration, digging through like the recent memories for something that would really help land like a good idea. And she like Janelle's looking for like complex emotions. She's looking for more complex emotions, which is what we need going forward. And Paula, looks for like the very kind of happy-go-lucky joy-based one. Where it's like, oh yeah, look, I found the I found the mermaid unicorn.
Right.
Little toy, which basically kind of then motivates like her to kind of go over the line with the.
We really use the hell out of that mermaid unicorn, dude.
Dear God, do we? So we have the so that's thing. So meanwhile, I love so Paula is like we're setting things up for us to go south here. Like meanwhile, so Riley has found this though. I love that Paula's completely unaware of this. Riley's has basically as like a little key. I just said a little thing. Oh yeah, I just kind of found this and I put it in my bag. It's like a little kind of
Dragon. That scene where she gets called out and that was so painfully fucking relatable to me,
right?
Because as a kid, like especially as an autistic kid, you do not know what social norms are. You do not know what's actually going to hit. And man, as a kid, I would do so much cringy shit like this in middle school. Like I honestly felt kind of almost directly called out at this moment, which I think was the intention.
I think there's such an authenticity where the other kid didn't mean to embarrass her, but he kind
of right, exactly, yeah.
He's not taking responsibility for it much, but he did. And the teacher's having the responsibility, no toys in class. It's like, oh, it's the worst thing she could say.
And then even later on, when she tries to throw it in the trash can and it's still going off, and you just hear the other people like, my kid's sister doesn't even play with toys anymore. It's like, oh God, fucking kill me now.
So again, there's such authenticity in what they did there. Okay, so
I feel like this franchise kind of thrives in the cringe, Dragon. Like Inside Out does cringe more, like better and more effectively and more realistically than I think any other franchise in film right now.
There you go.
Better or worse.
So Jean Dewberry, played by Maya Rudolph, who was in Luca.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she is again. It makes sense that we have kind of an SNL alumni as the boss here.
She's like the perfect embodiment of like the boss that has the chipper attitude, but will cut your throat in a second and really doesn't understand the job that she's in, even though she's got power over everyone else. And I really love the power dynamics in the show. I really think the workplace dynamics are super realistic. Like, because Paula is having to cater to Jean. And then we've got the thing with, oh God, why am I Janelle?
Yeah, Janelle.
Janelle, the assistant wanting to get out of the shadow of Paula, but at the same time still respecting Paula, not wanting to hurt her feelings. Like there's such a dance that's going on throughout all 4 episodes with these characters, where, and again, it's very realistic, and you can kind of tell that Pixar wrote this while they were in the process of some really turbulent production woes on their end.
Yeah, and it makes Here's the thing with it feels like the way Maya Rudolph plays this character, it feels like she's been in the room with the Gene Dewberries of the world, and I really like that.
Totally.
So here's something that was kind of sad to me. Like, she just fired the comedy guy. She fired Zach.
Yes, that was brutal.
Yeah, I love the different genres of the Dream. By the way, I'll be like Marco and Sport.
I feel like if we get a season 2 of this, which we might, I'd be down for it. I feel like we should kind of explore the other dream makers, if that's what we call the other directors. Let's say,
the other directors.
Because they were fine, but they were all kind of tertiary, which is fine because I feel like this series has 4 leads that work really well off of each other, as I already established. But I feel like if we were to get a little bit more ambitious, we could explore those characters a little bit more in the future.
You know what spinoff I want to see, Tiki?
What?
I want to see the Dream Cops.
The Dream Cops, yeah.
Remember, and you know who would star in that, don't you?
Who?
Remember, it's Dave Goelz and Frank Oz.
Oh yeah! Oh my God, that's right. Oh
so
God,
they played them, and also there's a fun little. I was doing some research on Inside Out 2, and there's this really great confirming gag where in the first Inside Out, those 2 characters had this joke where they're easily distracting or saying, like, "That's my hat." No, it's my hat. It clearly says my hat. And anyway, so when they get taken out during the bank vault, during the secret vault escape. If you see inside one of the hats, and the hats literally has a label that says "My Hat," like MY hat. So it's really funny. So I would absolutely watch like a show dedicated to those 2 characters.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, so okay, so yeah,
does Ratzenberger have an established role in Inside Out?
Well, he does. I can't remember if we brought him back for Inside Out 2 or not. I think we might have, but it's
like one of the construction workers.
That's the thing, yeah. Right? So he is one of the construction workers at the tail end of Inside Out, and then I don't know if we brought him back for 2 or not. I have a fear that we may not have, but Anyway. Okay, so I love the little personal moments in the documentary Confessionals, by the way, where we see we're kind of lingering on Paula. We see like the bit with her in her office with Melatonin the dog, and she's feeling a little. I don't know
how adorable Melatonin is.
Yeah, Melatonin's great. Makes you all sleepy.
I love the design. I love the concept where if you rub her fur and all, you get you fall asleep. That's really fun.
Yeah. So then, of course, I love like the Code Red, like it's go time thing with Little Cabin in the Valley.
Oh my! No, that sequence is one of the funniest. I mean, that is not just that, but we have like the rule of 3s, Dragon. It's the Little Cabin in the Valley. It's Nana's quilt
and chamomile tea.
Curse you, chamomile!
So it's go time. It's like, okay, look, there's no more prep
all
time.
Of this, I think one of the best elements of this whole show is like, and the editing is always so spot on, is when we see all this panicking going on, and we just cut back to Riley and she's sipping the tea like,
Wouldn't it be hilarious if like SNL was like, Lorne is in the building, we gotta go. What? We haven't even rehearsed yet. Lorne's stepping inside. He's getting his coffee. Do it now. So we have we end the episode with the disaster of the school dance, which by the way I love as the season's goal is like, okay, Riley wants to go to the school dance.
Yeah, which I think is great. I think it's a very like relatable conflict with any kid her age, Dragon. I never went to any school dances, so like Riley, she's already accomplished more than I did socially through this series.
Yep. So I love the camera POV gags, by the way. I love the idea of the Riley. We set up the Riley cam in Inside Out. We didn't really do a lot with it.
We set up the Riley cam. We set up the reality filter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We set it up, but we really get to play with it a lot here, which I think with the world building, I think was really welcomed. I think really help have this stand out and be not just supplemental. It's not just gag based. It's like we're actually kind of teeing it up, and we really pay it off like episode 3.
Right.
So we have like the POV gags. We have like the it's very it's very successful. I gotta be honest, super catchy. Like kind of dance party song they have, and even Disgust of all characters, Disgust likes it. And everything's going great, and I love this. I think the message here, if I were to read into it, so everything's going great until Mermaid
Like,
Unicorn
if
plays.
Mermaid Unicorn hadn't come into the picture, it would have been a really good, successful dream.
And I suspect the message there being, it's the woes of being pressured by the studio, which leads to
Oh God!
overcompensation.
Oh,
Like
you're
this,
right. Oh my God! Yeah.
because remember, like Gene's whole thing is like, the measure of success in the dream world is if the dream is remembered or has an impact in real life based upon the dream. If the idea gets incepted, it's a major success. It gets a big poster, all that stuff. So again, it's the idea that, again, the pressure of like, okay, we don't want it just to be good. We want it to be memorable and great. And again, putting all the pressure. Oh boy, you're only as good as your last success. You really have to, come on, Nolan, you gotta. You did the Dark Knight. Don't give. What are you gonna do? Give us Dark Knight Rises?
All right, Nolan, you just won your Oscars. You just had your big Oscar movie, but what have you done for us lately, huh?
Yeah. Okay, you did Dunkirk. We will. What's the next one? It's Tenant.
What the fuck is Tenet?
Well, it's everyone goes backwards. Like, oh, come on, Nolan,
Oh God.
backwards.
All right.
One step forward, two steps back in reverse. He gets us to Oppenheimer. So it all worked out.
Uh-huh.
Anywho, let's see. Okay, point being, here's something I noticed though. I'm going to throw this at you. I had a weird fan theory about Riley.
Yeah.
I think we always kind of we have like the whole parade of potential career paths for Riley in Inside Out too.
She's very politically ambitious, Dragon.
Yeah, because we had the whole UN thing.
Yeah.
But, I gotta tell you, I think the actual grounded thing she might end up doing based on like her dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's gonna be a baker.
Really?
I really do.
I
I
mean,
think
we get some of the cooking stuff in Inside Out too.
Yeah, I mean, we saw she's struggling with the cooking, but she still
Yeah.
has an ambition for it. And here's the thing: we had a cake dress. There's sweets.
I love that.
Every dream we constantly have.
And
like,
I love the
cupcakes.
cutaway to Riley, just like, all this is going on. The dream looks amazing. Then we just cut to Riley, like, oh, cake dress.
That's what I'm saying. She's got an ad for sweets and cakes and everything. And I know she's still like a kid, but still, it's.
Uh-huh.
I think she's got bacon on the brain, man.
Oh God.
I think she wants to be a baker. Anyway, so she wakes
for some bacon.
Well, Canadian bacon, but we'll get there. Somewhere Laser Dude's ears perked up that someone said Canadian bacon. Come on, I'll be right there, fellas.
Do you think Laser Dude was just traumatized by the Canadian boyfriend stuff?
I think it brings him back to his childhood. Yes, I could believe Laser Dude was a Canadian heartthrob. I could buy it.
Right.
In his heyday, not now, but in his heyday, I think he was maybe. Anyway, so I love this. Okay, I love them. We kind of teed this up too. It's kind of a foreshadow. We wake up the midst of the disaster. The mermaid unicorn thing, it snaps because they didn't have time for the safety check, and we have like the great dream logic of you get killed in the dream, so you wake up. So basically, we killed Riley at the end of episode 1 with the mermaid unicorn. It's hilarious and silly. And,
that's a great cut. Just like the camera being swallowed by the clam, and then Riley just waking up. It's kind of like the whole you die in your dream, you die in real life story.
That's what I'm saying. So it's great founded. You got to remember, T. Every time they make these Inside Out movies, they bring in actual psychologists to actually help consult on things. So we're bringing real dream stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got Richard's victims in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're having a good new year. He's saying, who be producing dreams, bro? And then he's saying, look, the Canadians offer some great stuff, but their bacon needs some work. Yeah, I'll agree to that.
It is just ham. It really ultimately is just ham.
It's literally just ham. Like, to me, the whole appeal of bacon is the crispiness of it.
It has to be crisp. It has to be.
The strips. Without that, it's just, what are you even fucking doing?
That's the difference there. Okay? Canadian bacon, again, it's like the one thing Canada can't do right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the one thing.
All right, anyways.
All right, so episode 2.
All right, we get Out of Body. Okay, so yeah, this is the big Zenny. He was introduced in the first episode, but I love how we just start the episode like, "I'm your new assistant." It's just like cut to intro.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, with that though, that's actually an office. That's a direct reference to The Office, by the
Is
way.
it really?
When she says no, you probably seen it's very memed. There's this clip from The Office where so Michael Scott has his arch rival is the HR guy, Toby, and Toby's like he's a perfectly nice guy. There's nothing really evil about him. He's just like Michael hates him because he's very inappropriate in the office, and this guy always rains on his parade. So Toby has seemingly gone in the show at some point, moved to Costa Rica, and then he comes back, and it's like the worst day of Michael Scott's life when he shows up, and like the cold open of The Office as he shows up, and says, "No,
Oh
no,
God.
God, no, no," and they says,
Oh, I mean that's
"No."
like probably the most famous like Office moment.
Yeah, it's one of yeah.
Uh-huh.
So he's going no, no, and it just cuts to the theme song. So this is a direct reference to that, which is great. So yeah, we keep demoting poor Paula in her office, which again, a little meta for the whole we're kind of stripping the budget down from 7 episodes to
Yeah,
four
yeah.
episodes. All then she's now in a tool shed, and Zenny. So we have seeds planted of Zenny's daydreams being very connected to Riley in the moment.
Mhm.
Which I think ultimately will lead to again the idea he's more of an improv guy versus the very very prepared, very rehearsed, very kind of experienced Paula, which is where they're mixing it up, and of course it breeds chaos. It's like Zenny has a very Curb Your Enthusiasm approach to dream making.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Just have an outline, then improvise, see where it goes, and tear down all the walls, tear down all the sets. Yeah. Yeah, I love. What's really funny? Paula just lets the dog drive, like the little golf cart across
Right,
the
right.
set.
All right. So then this episode we get into the situation with Janelle too.
Yes.
I don't know. I think again, I think Janelle is a very realistic kind of like because Dragon. I was in this position with Janelle. I was basically in Janelle's position when I worked at the thrift store, where I was essentially doing everyone's work for them at the thrift store, and I was never getting a promotion. I knew that asking for a promotion was basically like just a waste of time. So the Janelle stuff hit me hard. Just the whole like, oh yeah, you can be our little helper, and that's gonna be your role. You don't, like I don't know, and even Paula like not even realizing that she's being diminishing in this moment too. It hit pretty hard for me, I think.
Yeah, so I like the balance there where Janelle, when we see her directing style, she's initially, and I love the messiness, the wonderful complex messiness of it all here, where Paula shows up. She has an agenda. She wants to get Janelle to be her co-director again, to basically be her assistant or her
Mhm.
AD. And in doing so she comes with an agenda, but she does initially try to help Janelle, or Janelle seemingly is being overwhelmed, and she does need the help. So Paul is not entirely in the wrong here for helping, but then she takes too much control, and she kind of like diminishes her vision, saying like, this calls it a sinking ship, and says, "Get me a red marker." Whenever you hear someone say, "Get me a red marker," that's never good. So so there's manipulation there, and I love Janelle's response to this, saying, that hey, it's my mess, okay, so it is, it's her path, she's hanging her own shingle, and I love the behind the scene touches, by the way, when we see the dreams, like we see all the little calculated things in the making of the dreams with the POV camera and everything, like her like hoisting the mirror and pulling out the sets and stuff like that. Um, and we have like so it's like Janelle's style is like just the right amount of artsy versus Zenny, which is all pretentious artsiness that doesn't really add up.
Exactly.
So we have like the dream dress. We see exactly what Riley wants to wear, and it motivates the choice. So like, Mom, I'm not wearing your old dress. Okay.
That was probably the biggest laugh I got out of the whole series, honestly.
I think it's a
Again,
good
I just think
commentary.
the series uses the real life cutaways so well. Like, I honestly feel like they, like, obviously in the movies, they're, the real life cutaways can be used they can be used for comedy, but a lot of times they're used for the emotional stuff. But no, in this series, I really feel like it's mostly just comedy beats, and I think they work really well.
Yeah, I love like the commentary on the mind of the teenager. Where everything's like it's a big life or death kind of decision where I realize I'm not wearing the dress.
Mhm,
Okay,
mhm.
all right, don't wear the old dress that has mothballs. Like that. It's okay. Don't wear that. You don't have to. It just would have saved us, like finding a dress.
Mhm.
Also, I love that. Okay, so Rainbow Unicorn. She's very. I love. We have to placate Rainbow Unicorn. Is like really upset. You've ruined my career. She's in like a neck brace and everything. We have like the gag later on, like Rainbow Unicorn's like bleeping and just like cursing. See, that's how you use a bleep right there. That's how you do it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Zenny. I love also when Zenny takes the camera, he upsets the camera guy, who's very protective of the camera. Like, hey, that's Ziggy's job. Ziggy handles the Riley cam. Let's see. So I think we've the VHS tape with the memories, which was also a really nice bit too, like the old tactile VHS tape.
Yeah,
Never
it's just
underestimated.
classic Pixar emotion for sure.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. So Jean's. How big a jerk is Jean? Where Jean's like saying, "Walk with me" while she's driving a little golf cart after the success of Janelle. I'm
Well,
like,
again, I feel like Jean. I feel like her whole thing is like she's just a very realistic boss, where it's just like she's out of touch, but she's in the power position. So what can you really do?
this is where I'm reading too far into it. Okay, get ready for this.
Oh God.
Earlier, we had like the Paula's still feeling her oats. She's like, you know what, we're fine, we're gonna be okay. While Melatonin the dog is driving and like tearing through his set and everything, so she's in the golf cart. Doesn't even bother driving. I'll let the dog drive.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
again, she's had a setback here. She's been humbled by Janelle's success, and now Jean's like she's driving the golf cart and like saying, "Hey, walk with me," and like Paula has to run to keep up with her while she's in the golf cart. So it's kind of karma in a sense, but still really mean on Gene's part. But it's kind of karma.
Uh-huh.
All right, so again, the stakes are established that she might be canning a director, with Janelle now taking Paula's top spot. So Paula's got to step it up. And also, big thing we got to mention, this bleeds into the next one, very importantly. So she fired Zenny. Now again, she initially couldn't say no to Zenny because Zenny is the byproduct of nepotism. Zenny is Gene's nephew.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's had enough of him, and then explains to him like, "Look, I need someone to be my yes man." And Zenny, says like, "Well, no, I'm not going to be your
Specifically, her
bestie."
best friend is the word that she uses.
So that I love that Zenny is not wrong at all for like calling her like, "I'm not supposed to be your best friend. That's not what the job is." And
Mhm.
he basically, kind of quits in a very pretentious way. But I tender my resignation retroactively.
Right, right.
Right, that brings us to episode 3.
Right, episode 3, we've got romance. Really quick, Richard's victim says, in her head, huge warrior walked to her mother. People are cheering her on, throwing flowers and whistling luck for this quest. I am not wearing this dress. In reality, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, episode 3, romance. Dragon, let's get Canadian.
So this is probably the best. This might be the best episode.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, they're all really good, honestly. It's not really a weak one amongst them. I'm just saying this one has like the big ending, so it's kind of, I think, de facto it might have to be the
Uh-huh.
best one. So Paul and Zenny, they've teamed up out of desperation for both their careers, and they go to Cafe Maturity. How great
Which
is
is
Cafe
yet another
Maturity?
like really, really good piece of world building in this.
Yeah, I love the barista. I love the fact that the barista is Teen Riley or
Mhm.
conceptual
I
Teen
love the
Riley.
animation of her.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Pixar loves the opportunity to do 2D, and this is like one of those.
Totally, totally.
All right, so as where Marley contemplates the mature things, which would be a good wealth of resource for the edgy current, ideas of the future here, where you got nose rings, tattoos, and boyfriends. So how do you beat like kind of trippy mirror like kind of contemplative dress stuff? Teen Canadian heartthrobs,
Hell yeah.
teen romance with CB. No, not Charlie Brown, his Canadian counterpart, Canadian boyfriend.
I love the idea of like calling him imaginary boyfriend is offensive.
Yep. So Canadian is like that's the thing. So Laser Dude is our is our imaginary compatriot there.
Yes, Dragon.
Because Canada is not Canada's too perfect to be a real place.
I mean, we all know this, obviously.
Well, yeah. I mean, come on. No place has like a leaf for a flag. It's ridiculous. I mean, come on. Maple's too good just to be casually thrown around the way it is in Canada.
I have a confession to make. All this time, I thought your name was Maple, like the syrup. Gravity Falls reference, anyways.
I mean, they've had maple and they've had maple donuts with bacon on it. Yeah. Anyway, so the key to Paul's comeback is the Canadian boyfriend. We even set this up in the first Inside Out movie with the whole "I would die for Riley," only it's more like "I would die for Riley." I think one of the funniest poster gags was Obuta Boy. Yep.
But yeah, this dream obviously, like, it starts out like, all right, this is, I like how it starts out like the first dream that she has of him is, when there's just one of them, it's fine, it's ideal. But then, like, obviously Paula gets in over her head, and then the multiple boyfriends, just the barrage, the literal like Canadian army of boyfriends is quite horrifying, appropriately.
Including Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber, oh god.
Yep.
Yes. I love Justin Bieber, by the way, just because I really like that they call back the Get Up and Glow thing.
Yeah.
It's some good continuity between the two movies.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I love this on its face, though, the fact that Riley has a thing for Canadians because of the hockey thing. I think that tracks really well.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so it's a big hit. Paula, she's getting the adulation, but not Zenny. And there's the thing: so she got her office, she got her bungalow back, but Zenny is in the closet. And even so, like Paula's getting like the biggest opportunity she could ever get the whole night, even post snooze alarm. She's getting the time slot, the honeypot of the time slots.
Mm-hmm.
Zenny's upset. He's justifiably upset over Paula. It's a really interesting argument that they have where Zenny's upset that he's not getting credit, which you feel for him for. By the same token, though, Paula does make a case for like it's the whole one voice vision coming from one person thing, where I mean, to an extent, I get what she's saying, and that only like too many cooks in the kitchen kind of a thing,
Sure.
But it is her job on the line. I get that. I sympathize with her. But in making Zenny the second unit director, which first of all, second unit directors are important. But I do love the gag that none of them know what a second unit director does. And there's but I love the logic of like, well, there's only one camera, so by that logic, yeah, I guess the second unit director really is kind of pointless if there's only one camera and he's not using it. So that was really funny, and so we kind of Zenny's a little unhappy with things, but he's given the title second unit director, which will give him some power later on. Meanwhile, it's the night of the big dream. I love that Joy and Sadness are they're having movie night.
They're having girls' night essentially, which is
it's adorable. How adorable was that, right? Plus, think about this, like, as the midquel, as, like, the 1.5 of it all, it's like, oh, man, they went on this really nice, kind of enlightening adventure in the first movie, and now they're having gal time, or they're having, like, emotion time. Yeah. Effervescent representations of the psyche kind of time together. So, so we have so let's talk about the Feelson machine, Tiki.
Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, again, I feel like this show just does a really good job with introducing these concepts. The Feelson machine is basically just like a real-time way to judge statistics on the dream.
By the way,
what we're doing here, it's just kind of like a baseline, like, man, we want to get it like really going.
So this is a real thing with dreams, by the way. There is a machine that does well. It's essentially it measures. I meant to look up the actual name of this thing, but essentially it measures like REM, like when you're in REM sleep, and like if your mind like is stressed out or like really having a nightmare or something. If there's like a lot of mental activity going on in your sleep. People do a sleep study. This is the kind of device that they have. It's a little like an earthquake measuring device that basically will go haywire, like a lie detector, like a little Richter scale measuring paper thing. And one of the reasons I know this is RoboCop. Again, I've looked into it elsewhere, but I'm saying that RoboCop is like one of the primary pop cultural exposures of like when he's having the big nightmare when he's remembering himself getting killed in that movie. You see like the little Richter scale like this, the Fielson machine thing going haywire.
Right. Yeah.
So I love the fact they pulled that in there and like literalized it. That's really funny. Like the flying dream. We had a really clever gag too about like, oh yeah, Riley had that flying dream, and she actually tried jumping and flying, and that was a whole different department.
That's not our department.
That's impulse control. They really got to get their act together. All right, so let's talk about the disaster. So we have seemingly a romantic moose riding dream.
Oh God,
Tiki, yeah. Do you remember the name of the moose?
No, I don't.
You're gonna love it.
No, I know it's a funny one, but I don't quite remember the name.
Oh God, you're gonna love it. Okay, get right. Timbit.
Timbit. Oh God.
Again, she's got to be a baker, man. She's all about the doughy pastry foods, man.
Richard's victim says, Riley is thinking hockey is fun, therefore Canadians are hot. It's a very simple equation for her.
There's nothing more attractive than Wayne Gretzky, kids. Let's be honest.
Oh God.
Yeah, no one could wear no one could wear blue and orange the way that man does.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, except the chubbier Kevin Smith, but still.
He wears a Gretzky jersey, right?
Well, he did when he was wearing jerseys, yeah.
Well, yeah, but the Gretzky jersey was his trademark.
That was his too fat for 40 era. That's when he was wearing that on the regular, and then kind of bridging into like the Smodcastle era. There's many eras of Kevin Smith, as you probably guessed.
Oh yeah.
So let's see. So again, we're seemingly having this romantic moose riding thing, but then they realize, oh God, we padded it too much. Here's the thing. Seemingly this might play, but then we need to measure how exciting the dream is for barometer of success. And it's like, oh God, it's not doing enough. We're doomed. 10 pages of moose flirting. No. So she's getting bored.
Perfect. I honestly feel like this scene in particular is like, it's going to be really helpful to teenage boys as far as like knowing like what too much attention can do,
Yeah.
Like, because it very much is a great example of like, okay, yeah, like, no, like, you know what? Screw teenage boys, just men in general, honestly. It's just like a great example of like, yeah, no, like, if you're just going to like shower her with compliments, and this is like what I should have learned when I was, back when the two relationships that I did have, I'm so fucking lonely. I'm sorry. Is just the whole idea of like, you can't just shower her with praise all the time. You got to treat her like a real human being. And this is the problem, is that essentially these doofuses were all just collectively putting her on a pedestal, and it just was not working out.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm with you there. It does seem like it would be kind of like a nice little kind of like lesson to take away for the kids out there.
See, this is what it looks like when you do this. It's not pleasant.
And that Canadian boy was in like Flint. He see again, but again, you know what he did wrong? He had nothing to contribute aside from compliments.
Exactly.
It was just compliments and mooses or nieces, or it was more moose. Anyway, so again, I love the writer's pen. Here's the thing, you know how bored Riley is, Tiki?
How bored?
She's yawning in her sleep. That's how you know someone's bored.
Right.
Anyway, so I love the immediate panic. Like, okay, writer's huddle, and I can't write the metric system. Anyway, so the second unit takes over and succeeds. So this is the thing. The whole reason this whole dream goes south is she's in competition with Zenny. She won't let Zenny have the win. Zenny has like the love triangle ad, which, oh my God, a love triangle. So she's panicking, and
even the love triangle probably would have worked. It was just the problem was just like going overboard with it. Like,
well, that's the thing, and I think that's the meta thing. like here, think about this, Steve. Here's the meta contextual element here that I think is so true. Is that
Uh-huh.
so? Paula is a good director. She did stuff really well here, and if she worked with Zenny here and just like let Zenny kind of take the reins there, she would have had a big success on her hands. But again, bad creative decisions are made during basically bad creativity is when you replicate success just over and over again. You replicate the same thing over and over again. Pixar very actively tried to avoid in the beginnings and ever since the start of it. So it's this meta-contextual thing of like, hey, let's of just like hey, let's just do what you did last time. Or basically Pixar became a cliche, or Pixar just became like, hey, let's just do let's cash in on kind of our family friendly thing, just to the end
Mhm.
of basically if Brad Bird never enters the fray and they just rest it on their laurels, like let's just make the rest of them Nemo.
Mhm.
That's what we would have had. That's essentially what Paul was kind of falling into the trap. She's getting stressed over. Oh God, we need more of this. This is like what
Or
the other
basically,
people.
if they just kind of like just kept doing the whole like the world through the eyes of something,
Yeah,
and
basically
never evolved beyond that.
it's like the joke about Stephen King
We're
where
gonna
it's
do
like
a movie about squirrels.
sure it's like the Stephen King thing where it's like Stephen King
Exactly,
desperate for
exactly. I was
ideas,
just
like
thinking
look,
that.
there's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lamp. Ooh,
Right, right,
it's
right.
like what else can we possess? We did the car, now there's a lamp, and then we had a Green Goblin truck. Ooh.
We'll do a movie about penguins. Wait.
So that's it. It's basically kind of making fun of what the industry does so often.
The
Where
victim,
even
Richard's victim says, "Let's make shoes people now."
but it's so funny. Like I'll pull a Stan Lee quote here. So back in the day, DC was competing with Marvel in the most ridiculous way possible. Where it's like Marvel's books are selling really well. What are they doing that we aren't? Well, they have a lot of red on the covers. Let's put red on the covers. And Stanley just to mess with, say, hey, you know what? I heard they're doing this. No red on the covers for a month.
Mhm,
Just
mhm.
so this kind of stuff. Just the competition over like, oh, we just got to do more of it, more, and it'll work. So then all of this builds to this awesome moment, the surely, oh my god, sheer awesomeness of the MVP moment of the whole season, the sleepwalking.
Yes, yes, yes.
God, I was on the
The
edge of my seat.
sleepwalking and then the thing that happens in episode 4, both
Uh-huh.
things where I felt really stupid for not predicting that they would go in that direction, but it's so cool. I think it adds so much to the world building of Inside Out.
Oh yeah, I think we've had. I think episodes 1, 3, and 4 had very strong endings. I think they all
I
ended
think
very
episode
strong.
2 was kind of like it was fine. It was more of a transitional episode than anything else,
And again, they
definitely.
can't all be earth shattering endings. Okay,
Right,
they
but I'm
can't.
just saying episode 2 was probably the least memorable out of all of them, which is fine.
It's a plot episode. We need the episode
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
All honestly, in everything you look at, two often, with very few exceptions, like Daredevil, two is very much is
I
very
mean,
much
even
plot.
like Breaking Bad season 4 for 38 snub, a fine episode, not really the best.
Yeah,
It's
he
just
gets
kind
the
of a
gun. That's all
transitional.
we know. That's what we
Yeah,
get.
yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, so just this was a moment again. It was a big earth-shattering world-building moment where it makes sense. It's like, oh my god! It's like I had the peanut butter, I had the chocolate, but I never imagined doing this. It's
Right, right, right.
we
Exactly.
see like the whole. I love the reveal of it. We had like the little monitor, like asleep and awake, asleep, and we saw this in the first Inside movie. When we had the whole like waking Riley up plan. So the fact that it goes back and forth and just stops, and we hit a button in mission in headquarters, and it's just that I love the eerie silence and the camera becoming sentient and moving on its own. It's so unnerving. And then the panic as everyone's like running around like we don't know what to do. And then just the intercutting between the tension of oh god, and the headquarters is in a panic too, like they're
Mhm,
all awake
mhm.
now, like oh god, what are we can't shut her down, she's gonna fall down the stairs. And it's the Hitchcockian reveal of the stairs
Right,
with
right,
like the
right. And I
vertical.
love how the camera is going like towards the edge of a stage or something.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is what I'm talking about. These are the moments that make me I live for as a Pixar fan. Just the whole like this is why we love this company. It's this
Totally,
moment of
totally.
like oh my god, you're on the edge of your seat. You're a grown man on the edge of your seat. Oh god, she's gonna fall down the stairs.
And this is all over like Riley in her dream being like, I don't think I want to go to the dance with you.
Yep. Oh, I guess so thankfully we save her at the last second. Then her mom sees her and's like, "Oh, here's that whole awkward conversation we're not seeing. Like you were sleepwalking." So then, of course, she's in big trouble for this. We have like the trash can full of the memories, which was a great visual symbol for where her career's at right now. And she
Okay,
basically.
someone is shooting off fireworks right now, so I apologize if you can hear that in the background. You're a day early, people. All right, I'm sorry, Dragon. Go ahead.
Well, maybe it's the time zone thing, T. Maybe they're getting started like at the crack of.
No, seriously, there's a whole bunch of them going off right now, dude. It's fucking funny. Anyways, it's like you're literally wasting money, guys. You could be doing that tomorrow night.
Well, maybe they're just really excited for the podcast. Did you ever think about that? Maybe maybe they're really loving this top tier level of storytelling.
Sure, because Richard's Victims is clearly the one viewer we have right now. So, Richard's Victims, are you in Petaluma? Are you right next to me shooting off fireworks?
Well, don't give away his location.
Anyways.
Anyway, wouldn't that be a really awkward way to find out?
It would be, yes.
It's like he's in the backyard with the laptop and just
God. Oh my God, he's just been living in my backyard the whole time.
This is great. And he says, like, "Richard's Victims, is that you? Oh, take it. Hey, I'm listening to a podcast. It's like the looking into the mirror effect right now, man. This is great."
Oh my God.
Anyway. So, point being, Gene fires Zenny because Paula throws him under the bus, saying, "Well, you're thinking he was going to get a slap on the wrist because it was his first mistake."
Mm-hmm.
But he gets fired. He gets demoted to sandwiches.
Yup.
Bum, bum, bum. And now Paula is on the precipice of being sent to brain farts, which, if you're going to have one of those jokes, I think it was earned after all the good stuff that we had up to that point.
Sure.
Also, Anger on the phone, like, chew.
Oh my God, it's a fucking amazing visual, just the fire coming out of the phone receiver.
God, it's loved, and I love her like saying like, "So they loved it, really? No." She's like, "What? Did any of that look pleasant to you?" Oh no, he's fired up with good feelings, good vibrations. No,
right.
All right, so point being, the stakes are on Paula. Zenny is down making sandwiches, and we get to episode 4.
All right. Before we get to episode 4, just shout out some comments from Richard's Victims. He's saying, we'll do a movie, a Penguins movie from Madagascar. No, you fool. DreamWorks did that already. Our penguins will dance, and we'll call it Happy Feet.
Wait.
He also says the fact that we had computer animated films about talking penguins feels weird. It isn't that weird, but it feels weird. Yeah. He's saying, "Dude, people near me have been shooting fireworks since after DreamWorks? What? Since after DreamWorks? What about DreamWorks?"
But I think he's making the joke about the. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Richard's Victims clarified.
He says after Christmas. Okay, I was thrown off there. I was like, all right, my bad, Richard's Victims. I ruined the joke for you.
You're throwing off his focus, Tiki.
Sorry about the noise. All right, anyways, yes, episode 4, A Night to Remember. So I love the cold open here where it's just Zenny making the sandwiches, like being reminded of Paula, just having just the big grudge. It lasts like less than a minute, but it's a great way to like, okay, this is the state of mind he's in. This is what we're in for going into the episode.
A few things about this, and someone to get the whole Gutierrez from Freakazoid saying, "Enough about the sandwich already," because we're going to talk about the sandwich here. Okay, a few things. One, I love that, like, she has a sandwich named after her, so the gag is he is making, so the Paula
sandwich, by the way. I'm surprised we didn't point that out before.
Oh yeah, so that's the thing. So the Paula pimento sandwich here. Again, the idea that all these themed sandwiches are actually in the shape of the person, which is really funny.
Right.
Which is really, I love it.
It's a good fish sandwich shaped like a fish. That is honestly, Dragon, I don't know if I brought that up before. That's honestly one of the most memorable Rocket Power quotes for me.
By the way,
everything in Rocket Power.
It's a good pull. Now, forget to ask, did you ever get to season 5 of Curb Your Enthusiasm?
What season was it?
That's the Richard Lewis Needs a Kidney season.
No, I don't think I did.
Okay, one of the great, I think it's the opener possibly, is one of the episodes in season 5 is the Larry David sandwich, in which he gets a sandwich named after him.
Okay, I think I started that season because that sounds familiar. I don't think
That's the
I
thing,
ever.
because he hates the sandwich. So
Oh
I
yeah,
strong.
no. Yeah, I don't think I finished that season, but I definitely saw that episode.
It's really fun. Anyway, so it does kind of a whole like every time I hear like the celebrity sandwich thing, I always go to that one.
Right, right.
Anyway, but I love that. It feels very much. I could be. I think music wise, just kind of the tone. It feels like it's doing. It feels very Kubrickian. It's like a Kubrickian sandwich kind of moment there, where we have
Totally,
like.
totally.
It feels like the music from A Clockwork Orange at the start of the movie.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so we have Jacob, not our Jacob, but however, it'd be impressive if Jacob could actually do this. We have the very enthusiastic manager who's like training Zenny and making the
You
sandwich,
feel
and
so,
poor
this guy is one of the most sympathetic characters in the whole show, just in the brief screen time he gets in this episode.
yeah.
He's trying so hard.
That's the thing. As much as I think Zenny, as much as Zenny grows on, he's a real jerk to poor Jacob here.
Right.
You know, he's like the worst coworker ever, which is kind of his arc. He's
Exactly.
got to be more. He's got to
And
be
I
more
will say I
sensitive.
have maybe not to this extent, maybe not this terrible, but I have had coworkers like this where you just want to scream in their face like, do something, work. You're not getting paid to literally do anything but work.
Yep. So so Zenny's not happy. Meanwhile, back in reality, well, back outside the head, little Kyle McLaughlin goes a long way.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. I felt Inside Out 2 kind of was it just I really, really like Inside Out 2, but I do think that focusing on the friends more than the parents, which it makes sense that that movie focuses on the friends because it makes sense with Riley, her the time in her life, but I think the emotions with the parents were so much more palatable in the first movie. It was a much more emotional movie. Inside Out 2 is a very fun movie, but Inside Out 1 still takes the cake for like we didn't come out with the inside out tissues for nothing, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so very good advice. The whole like sleep on it. He's like kind of nudging her, like go to the dance. Your friends are going to be there, but he's not
Uh-huh.
like forcing. He's not like saying. He's not directly saying. It's like do whatever you feel is right.
Right. All right. Yeah. Okay, so we set up the stakes of the scripts are locked in. We can't improvise. And if you want to blame someone, blame Paula.
Yeah, no improvising, which no improvising on the fly, which is kind of death to them creatively. And now like the scripts are locked in little envelopes and everything. Let's see. So Zenny, again, he's ever pretentious. He's basically every pretentious Hollywood screenwriter. He's like working at the sandwich shop.
Right.
He's working on he's working on that more than he's working on the sandwiches. Poor Jacob's kind of like suffering his revenge quest. And I love that he pulls kind of a combination of a Steven Spielberg move, but also kind of a Dexter Morgan move, where he takes the coffee as like the Trojan horse.
It's a little bit of a Dexter Morgan move, isn't it?
It's like Dexter Morgan with the donuts, but it's kind of Spielberg's old trick and how he got started. The Universal lot, bringing the
Angel Batista, Bear Claw.
Yeah. Yep. So,
seriously, let's just take a moment to that is like again another one of the best gags in the whole show. I love you gotta think that coffee is a big part of the subculture at Pixar,
Well, yeah, they have the Luxo Cafe.
Right. So it's like, I just love the whole idea of just like you can basically get through anything with coffee.
Oh yeah. All right, let's see. So because everyone's plus we've established firmly from the first episode, like everyone's like hopped up on caffeine to do this output like daily, like they are.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. So we have I guess we should talk about. So Paula is kind of like she's very much on her last legs here. It's not going well for her, and she gets this script. So Zenny has swapped the lock script with a really like a horrible script that will.
And I think the writing on this dream is kind of genius, honestly, both in terms of like as far as like the character goes, like in character, it makes a lot of sense that this would kind of be like Zenny's, magnum opus, except it's terrible, but it's still very much him. But then, like, just from a real world writing level, it's a great encapsulation of. I'm sure you've had dreams like this, Dragon, where you keep waking up and then you keep going through the same sort of frustrating situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's but this is like that, but just like I love how every part of the dream like kind of like brings in another part of like something that we've seen before in the show. So, first it's the dress and then it's the Canadian boyfriends and then we go the full rainbow unicorn.
Yep. Yeah, and it's just kind of like it's the never-ending nightmare, just again and again. It's very torturous, and I love that Paul has a real crisis of conscience here. Like, no, I can't put her through this. I can't do this to her. As her kind of the nurture of her subconscious, essentially here.
Yeah.
So she quits, and Zenny. Then I love Zenny's moment of realization, where he realized, like, Jacob, like, tells him, well, isn't that gonna really hurt Riley? So he's like, no, it's just going to hurt Paul. It's like, oh, no, I now see what I did wrong. Okay, he makes a mad dash to stop the dream from being directed, and then it's in Janelle's hands, and they're both freaking out, like, oh, God, we're going to stop this. And then I love the immediacy of the team up. Like, oh, yeah, there's a bit of an apology, but there's no time for this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like the toll bridge gag where it's like the little things coming down. It's like, just wait for the guy to lift the thing.
All right, so then we get the big climax, and I think the show does a really good job of like building to this and building the stakes.
Yeah. So, Jean, just an utter monster. He's told me all about this, and I love this new script. Like, what? Yeah, it's drama. No, it's a nightmare. Even Janelle refuses to direct it. So then I was like, I love this. It's like Jean's like, I'll direct it. How hard could it be?
That's the last pretty much the matchstick moment, right?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's between. I think that's. My heart of hearts. I would say that's the matchstick moment, but it's probably going to be I don't know. It might be the reality filter. I don't know.
I feel like the reality filter is how we get out of the matchstick moment.
I think you're right about
that. Right? Like, that's the solution to the matchstick moment.
Because it feels like, okay, clearly no one's going to direct it, but then like, oh, I'll direct it. I mean, how hard can it be? It's like, oh, no, studio thinking. No!
Exactly, right.
Not Kinberg, no!
Oh, God, you're right. Oh, my God. Do you think that might actually be like a slight jab?
No. I don't think Pixar has a strong opinion about Simon Kinberg.
But it feels like if it is a reference to anything, it's definitely a reference to that.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. So the plan is to sabotage the dream to save Riley. We have like Zenny, like, kind of teaching the Canadian boyfriends, no but instead of yes and.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We have this big tension, like, don't drop the clam. Whatever, don't drop the clam. So they think like, oh, Paul's waving at us. Hey. So big, just amazing. Again, just these moments that make you love Pixar. Is like, oh my God, you never would have thought of it. Let's remove the dream filter, which then brings us to this big crack in the world building in an awesome way. Lucid dreaming.
Which I'm a big fan of lucid dreaming just in general, like as a concept. And so, yeah, I was really geeking out about this for sure.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, I feel like this sequence really does kind of encapsulate like the great Pixar storytelling, subverting our expectations, but in a way that kind of like makes us be like, how the hell did I not think that this was what they were going to do?
And again, it's like it was like right under your nose the whole time. Like, well, yeah, especially if we're gonna like do sleepwalking, why wouldn't we do lucid dreaming?
Exactly. Yeah.
So we have this is a beautiful, like a rare thing you can do when it's just the idea we can have like the emotions interact. It's like I'm gonna go for a super obscure pull, man. Okay, you ready for this? Buckle up.
Okay.
Ozzy and Drix.
I mean, I know I've seen Osmosis Jones. I can't say I've seen the show.
So in the show, there's like one time, and I think they do go into the dreams too for this. By the way, it's the only way they made it. The only way they made it happen is they went into the dreams.
Yeah,
Hector, the boy, was able to interact with Ozzy and Drix. It's like one
Wait.
time.
So, okay, how do they get out of Bill Murray then? I'm sure they explain
Oh yeah,
it.
in the pilot they show you what happened. So in the
Okay.
pilot, we killed Frank off.
Oh dear God.
Yeah, so that's the thing. He was Scarlet Fever. Well, I think it was Scarlet Fever was something. I think it was Scarlet Fever, but voiced, I believe, by Tim Curry. I could be wrong.
Uh-huh.
Scarlet Fever got into Frank, and then
Tim
basically
Curry is an Osmosis Jones villain. Just makes a lot of sense for some reason.
so Tim Curry is done his damage to Frank. Then a mosquito came by, and basically in the
Oh,
scuffle
okay.
with Tim Curry, that's how Ozzy, Drix, and the Scarlet Fever got sucked out, and then they ended up in Hector.
Right. All right.
Yep.
Anyways, you were saying?
So point being, there was like that one episode of Ozzy and Drix where they infiltrated like the Dream Theater. So that was like the one time they really actually interact with the kid because it was subconscious and everything. It was kind of anyway. So it's a really nice rare moment where you have like Paul and Riley having
I
a
almost kind of feel
conversation.
like this might be foreshadowing for like, wouldn't it be cool if Joy actually interacted with Riley at a certain point in Inside Out 3 or
Well,
something?
that's the thing. Like we've been intimating this where we had like like Riley calling for Joy, like
Exactly. Yeah.
symbolically. She's anyway.
I
So
love how the Joy and Riley thing is like a bit like a much more metaphysical version of Woody and Andy.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, absolutely. So this, I just love that the dialogue between Riley and Paul. Every line has to count, and it can't be too hammy. It can't go on too long. We're using just the right amount of dialogue here, where it's like, this is your dream. Or that's the
I'm
one. The
gonna be
one.
sappy here, but the line let's not say goodbye, let's just say good morning.
I know, how
Like,
great is
hits
that
me every
line?
time. It's genuinely kind of a tearjerker.
It's beautiful. No, I'm with you. But that's the thing. So we have like lines like that and the whole thing. Well, there's one thing I know. This is your dream. Like that's literally all she knows. It's ingrained in her being as a person. It's like this is your
Mhm.
dream. Like we're in service of you, kid. You're calling the shots, which essentially is what you
You
would
all
hear in a
think you're
loose.
so powerful, huh? Well, this is my dream.
Yeah. So we have a dance party.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And Zenny gets the again he goes for the improv here. Like, okay, guys, we're gonna improvise this. It's whatever Riley wants. He's on board finally.
Mm-hmm.
We've redeemed Rainbow Unicorn, and like Riley gets the. This is really nice for Rainbow Unicorn. Has been looking really bad in Riley's eyes lately.
Yes.
So that's really warranted. Okay, she still likes that Rainbow Unicorn.
Oh.
All right, so we have the goodbye, and then after that goodbye and the good morning thing, we see like her with the camera, which I thought was a beautiful like symbolic shot there. Like the camera's the girls, if she's still kind of always with her, it was really nice.
Sure.
And I love this that the line is she's like she forgot the dream, but I'll never forget it.
Yeah. That's a really nice message for sure.
So we end things off really nicely here. So anger demoted.
I missed that detail on the first watch. I'm glad I caught it on a rewatch.
I love that anger was like whoever.
Again, Anger very much on the sidelines, but kind of a pivotal player in this whole thing.
Love him. We love him. So anger made it all right. Anger, the demoted Jean. Paula got promoted to studio head. Got an office she could never be demoted from, seemingly. And Janelle and Zenny are directors now. And it's kind of like Better Call Saul. Paula's quest for the office. She got the office finally.
Right.
And Riley went to the dance with her pals, and she's we got the new set of. I love that our last visual is really nice, where it's Paula on the Riley set holding the new memory.
Yeah. Dragon, there's one element of the dance that it's not just exclusively with this, but it just kind of like makes me like, I'm glad that things weren't like this when I was a kid. All right. Just when they start dancing and like other people start recording them, Dragon, I don't give a fuck if they're recording me because they think it's cool. That would make me so fucking uncomfortable. And I don't like, obviously I'm a grown ass man. I don't know how kids operate these days. I don't know how normal it is to be just like, oh, my friend's doing something cool or my classmate is doing something cool. I'm going to record it. But I hate the idea of that as someone who's socially anxious, and that I don't know. It's a small detail about the dance scene, but it's like the one thing about the dance where I was like, I don't care if this is like a triumphant moment. I don't necessarily want it like being spread around the internet. I don't know. Is it just me?
Well, I mean, I don't think anyone wants to like spread around without their knowledge. You don't want to become that kid who did like the lightsaber thing with like the broom handle. You don't want to be that guy.
Exactly. Yeah.
You remember that guy, don't you?
Of course.
Yeah. You don't want to be Darth Maul. You don't want to be Chubby Maul.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh god, this show's already kind of I know that Riley isn't really autism coded, but this show is already kind of like gotten me in the feels of like, oh, some of the cringy shit I used to do as an autistic kid.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh yeah. Anyway, so that's it. That's the show.
All right. You want to do just a tiny bit of speculation on where we think Inside Out is going to go in the future?
God, I mean, they kind of made a joke about it here. It's like, they're 80 and they hate each other. So it's like, what if we did go to the Golden?
I honestly think like, look, if they milk Inside Out in the same, I'll say this much. All right, I think that they have more material to work off of to basically do infinite Inside Out movies than they do with Toy Story. I feel like with Toy Story, we're to the point now with Toy Story where it's like, okay, Woody had his big goodbye, and now he's just going to be back with the gang as if that didn't matter, as if the Andy goodbye didn't really matter. I don't think we have that problem with Inside Out. I think we can just keep going with it. And as Riley gets older, I think the world building is just going to get more and more interesting.
Well, it's also it's infinite in two ways, Tiki. One with Riley, and two with just like it's like the post-credit scene. Well, it's like the mid-credit scene for Inside Out, where it's like we go into the emotions of all other people's heads too.
Exactly.
Always have a different.
Yeah.
So right. Inside Out, in theory, could be the cash cow.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, they're going to have to, there's the risk of it getting stale. And we're going to do the whole story again with a different character. They're going to have to be really creative and go different age range.
I don't necessarily think they need to do like a different, like, I think all the movies can be with Riley. I think we have more than enough material. Like, we could easily get like 2 or 3 more movies just with Riley in her teenage years, and then, build from there. Adult Riley can get a trilogy. Old, and then we can bring in nostalgia and all that, like, I don't know. I just feel like there's just a lot we can do. I would definitely like to see a season 2 of this. I think there's enough that we have the other directors that can get fleshed out. We have Paula now in the studio head role, Zenny being a director. And Inside Out 3, I definitely really want Paula to be not necessarily like the main character, but I would like to see her involved in the main storyline of Inside Out 3.
It makes sense that we would check back in with Dream Productions, because we didn't check in with them at all in 2. So, it would...
in 2, didn't we have an anxiety nightmare at a certain point, or am I...
Well, no. What we had was anxiety was like basically like having... So it was... Anxiety was instructing all the... I guess I forget what the department's name was. It was like Creative Thought. It was like the big pillow fort. And basically, she was like
Imagination Land.
Land. So we were in Imagination Land. We had all essentially animators. They were drawing like all the worst case scenarios. So those weren't nightmares.
Which that scene is yet another kind of like Pixar sort of poking fun at the studio atmosphere.
So the idea is it was basically like giving you like thoughts that keep you up in the night, not quite nightmares, but essentially.
Also going to throw this out there. I'd like to see anxiety just involved in a season of Dream Productions. See how anxiety messes with the creation of dreams.
So that begs the question. So regardless, whatever we do in a hypothetical season 2 of Dream Productions, it would have to be set, I think, between 2 and 3. Which, so in that sense, you're right. We have 2 things to play off of. We'd have anxiety in the fray and the other emotions. I think embarrassment could flourish, honestly.
Sure, absolutely.
So we'd have that. And we would have honestly, it feels like anxiety already had like the big star turn. I think if anything, supplementally, we should develop embarrassment on. Ennuy's more of a gag. Ennui, we can't really develop that much. But I think we would have embarrassment and...
I feel like as Riley becomes more of a teenager, I feel like Ennui can be a little bit more prominent.
I'm saying Ennui can be prominent, but I don't think Ennui's a star.
Maybe more in Inside Out 3 than Dream Productions.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think overall, between like Dream Productions and or Inside Out 3, I think we could maybe raise those characters to prominence as they would have like roles that would play more into her life. Regardless, though, it feels like Inside Out 3 would be Riley's high school years. That's what it feels
Sure,
like.
sure.
In terms of like the next logical step would be high school because she's like, I don't think she's in high school yet, but I think she's nearing high
No,
school.
wasn't she in high school? Because wasn't the whole thing with, again, I haven't rewatched Inside Out 2 since it came on Disney Plus. I've been meaning to do that, but like, wasn't the whole thing with the ending the fact that she was in high school?
Well, that's the thing. So remember, she's I believe she's 13 in Inside Out 2.
Oh, okay. So she wouldn't quite be in high school yet.
However, by the end, when we jump to it, it's like they're saying like school.
Yeah, there
they're
is a
talking
little
about
bit of a
school.
time jump.
14, 15, 16, 17. Well, I mean, look,
Well,
if
freshman
she's
would be 14.
so that's the thing. The question is, so here's the thing: she's at school at the end of the movie. Now, I don't know if we jump to the beginning of high school or not because we're in school. I can't really. I don't know if it's like during the summer she's still 13 or not. That I don't know.
Because remind me, isn't the big conflict that her friends are going to a different school?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So they're hyping
that would
up high
imply
school.
that they're going like they won't just switch middle schools, right?
That's the thing. The implication
So I'm
is
pretty sure that Inside Out 2 takes place over the summer between middle school and high school.
Plus, it's the whole thing of like it's also this. Sorry, it's the whole thing of. So I'm distracted by the thought of like in Turning Red. Is she in high school in Turning Red?
No, she's like 13 and Turning Red, I think. I don't think she's high school. I think it's middle school.
Okay.
She might even be 12 in Turning Red.
Well, no, she's 13 in Turning Red.
Is she? Okay.
That's the whole point. So, but sorry, what I'm getting at is with that, the whole like the age in which things are starting to happen is which we see in Inside Out 2 and Turning Red. But Inside Out 2 is 13, so that I think we're transitioning to high school at the beginning of high school with that. So that does suggest the very end of Inside Out 2 is high school because we've gone into puberty, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like. So it feels like we would be for maybe. Do you think we jump into maybe like not freshman year, but like into sophomore year? You think?
It's possible. It's possible.
Like we can't have her be a
we
scene.
skip a year or two in between Inside Out and Inside Out 2.
I think so. I don't think we can skip.
Or then maybe Dream Production season 2 could be just like exploring freshman year.
There you go.
All right. I think that's about enough spec. Do
also,
you have any final thoughts?
Dream Cops. Also, Dream Cops.
Yes.
Because we have Dream Productions. The spin-off is Dream Cops, and then we have the next Dream this, and anyway. So anyway, overall, I rather like this show. I thought, again, it reminds you of why I love Pixar and everything. It makes you feel all warm and fuzzy, and it's like, man, they know what they're doing. Even in the short form, man, we can. It's like, again, this feels like the next logical step. This is like a good stepping stone between the shorts and the short form. So this feels good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, I think it's a shame that the controversy with Win or Lose happened. I still am really looking forward to Win or Lose, and again, I don't put any of that on the actual creative team behind Win or Lose. I very much put it on the studio. But I digress. I think this is an excellent sign in spite of the controversy. This is an excellent sign of the quality of Win or Lose. And I think it's really exciting that Pixar can just get more into the series side of things. I think Monsters at Work, even though it wasn't officially Pixar, was a good first step towards like developing a series around Pixar characters. But this has like the Pixar seal of quality and like that unmistakable, like, yes, like, because as good as Monsters at Work could get, you could tell it wasn't done by the A-team. It wasn't done by the actual studio. This feels like Pixar through and through. This absolutely feels like one for one with the quality of Inside Out. And I'm really excited about it. And like I said, the reason why I'm picking it as my debate answer for, for the best thing that Disney came out with this year is mostly just because of the potential that this represents. I mean, Inside Out 2 was great, but it was kind of set up to be great. This had every chance to fail, and I feel like it knocked it out of the park. All right. Okay, so yeah, obviously we want to thank Richard's Victims, man. It's really good to see you. I hope you're having a good new year. Little Blue as well, and then Code Geass briefly popped up just for a second. So yeah, you guys all rock, and this is the last podcast of 2024. So I hope you guys again have a good New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. We will be back in a couple days. And also, Dragon, just don't mind me while I get a little bit self-indulgent, like Zenny here for a second. The polls for the wildcard nominations are up. Have you voted, Dragon?
No.
Okay. I don't know why I thought that reaction was so funny. All right. So over the next few days, over the next couple weeks, actually, we're going to be doing a series of wildcard polls where you guys get to pick the nomination, the final nomination. We have 3 nominations locked in, and the winner of the wildcard polls for the Golden Tikis will name the 4th and final nomination. So get on that. We will be the second round of polls will be up tomorrow morning. So you have a few more hours. You basically have the rest of the night and early tomorrow to vote on the first 2 categories. All right. Okay, guys. That'll do it for us tonight as we holster our remotes till the next installment calls for the draw. Mano y mano. Just Plus and Us. Mom, I'm not going to wear the dress. Okay.